And hello, my fellow nerds. This is the Oracle Nerd here, and welcome back once again to Project Eden's Garden. So we're here continuing the trial to figure out the murder of Wolfgang Akire, and we kind of thought it was Diana, but from from what we found out, it probably wasn't actually her because she was locked in there with Wolfgang, who apparently was hallucinating. So, anyways, hitting down how Wolfgang was drugged may validate Diana's testimony. Question is, how the killer drugged him? I'll stop debate.
I bet the killer took a pill and forced Wolfgang to swallow it.
Just jab him at that point.
How would the killer
Just jab.
make him swallow a pill? There was no proof they restrained him.
Didn't the killer knock Wolfie out? Maybe that was their way of restraining him.
You can't force an unconscious person to swallow a pill.
What if it was a drug? You don't need to eat.
Kai's,
An inhalable substance?
Kai is thinking.
Powder or something.
The pharmacy does have a large collection of over-the-counter sedatives, but there's too many for us to isolate any specific one.
How did the killer drug Wolfgang? Out of all the ideas being thrown around, only one has any real merit.
I bet the killer took a pill and forced Wolfgang
Wait.
to swallow it.
Oh yeah, the neck injury, right? Consent.
When Wolfgang's wounds were discussed earlier, it was mentioned he had a tiny red dot below the bruise on his neck. During the investigation, I thought this dot was a scab from a mole or pimple, but knowing Wolfgang was drugged, it's clear to see what it really is. A puncture wound.
Considering the timeline of events, an injection would check out. If Wolfgang got drugged a little after 8:15 a.m. and was already feeling the effects when Diana arrived at 8:45 a.m., then we're dealing with something which entered his bloodstream in under 30 minutes. Any normal pill would have taken, probably an hour to dissolve.
Whilst an injection would be much quicker. I see.
That's probably another reason why the killer knocked Wolfgang unconscious. It would have been incredibly difficult to inject him if he was still moving around. Only when they had him right where they wanted, dazed and unable to fight back, did they plunge the syringe into his neck.
With said syringe being filled with a hallucinogenic. But if this all happened a few minutes after 8:15 a.m., doesn't that make it impossible to pin a suspect?
What? Why is it impossible?
Because everybody's got an alibi for that time. I mean, Damien and I were in my dorm room, and the other party people...
8:15 a.m. Yeah, I was already in the dining hall with Jet, Mark, and Eva.
I left Wolfgang's dorm right after the morning announcement and spent the rest of the hour with Jean.
When Nona and I were in our dorm room together.
And me and Eloise were already sitting down in the courtyard.
Toshiko was giving me the medication she grabbed from the pharmacy.
And, I stayed in my dorm room until 8:40 a.m.
Oh no. If everyone can be accounted for, we really can't assume a suspect.
So we're back to square one?
Someone here must be lying.
And doesn't plan to stop. What's screwing us over here? Is there a part of this mystery we're getting wrong? Or could it be we're overlooking something? It was ruled out as having no relation to the murder because the wires don't touch the water. But the position of it, the fact it's destroyed, and the timing of the blackout. One coincidence is easy to wave off, but when it's coincidence after coincidence after coincidence, then there's something more going on. There's something more to the generator.
If everyone has an alibi for 8:15 a.m., is it possible the killer never actually attacked Wolfie at that? But his little note said to come by at 8:15 a.m., didn't it?
Ingrid, do you remember what you said when we couldn't figure out who stole Desmond's taser?
To be honest, I'm drawing a blank.
You suggested we switch subjects and discuss Wolfgang's injuries instead, which we did. As a result, we ended up unraveling more about the case than if we had stuck to the original topic. Right now, we're at a dead end. If we can't get any more leads out of this current discussion, then that's a sign to switch our focus.
Switch our focus to what?
I want to take another look at Diana's testimony.
Mine?
Back when you were describing Wolfgang's death, something stuck out to me.
Knows me as. All of a sudden, everything turned white. Everything in front of me except Wolfgang. In those 2 seconds, he became pitch black. And then so did everything else. Crack.
The flash of white Diana described must have been the generator exploding, with the darkness afterwards being the blackout. Think about the order of events there. In just a few seconds, the boiler room's generator explodes, and Wolfgang falls over dead. Doesn't it sound like the two are correlated?
Oi, didn't we go over this already?
We did. The generator has nothing to do with Wolfgang's death. Its wires weren't touching the water.
Indeed. Which is why the murder weapon is the taser gun.
Diana said she never used the taser, though.
She's lying!
What? That's not true! I never fired the gun!
It's all good. I believe you. Sure, nobody can dispute the gun was fired. What can be disputed, though, is when it got fired. I wouldn't be surprised if the killer fired that gun way in advance. Like, sometime before Wolfgang arrived downstairs and left it in the boiler room for us to find later.
What? So the taser gun isn't the murder weapon?
If Wolfgang wasn't killed with the taser gun or the generator, what other options are we left with?
The taser gun is the only option which makes sense. The murder weapon can't be anything else.
True murder weapon. Is it possible there's a third source of electricity we haven't considered yet? Am I grasping at straws by thinking something like that? Oh no, that's wait. If I look back at the bullets, there was one that we haven't used yet. Chunks of unidentified material were floating in the water near the generator. I feel like this has to do something with it. I just can't, because like the generator exploded, and considering that's not what killed Wolfgang, then we talked about every other thing that could be used. So the only thing I can think of is the shrapnel.
And anyway, the only proof Diana never shot the taser is her own word.
Huh?
Ava! What do you mean? All the evidence supporting your version of events is circumstantial. The note you showed us? That could be a fake alibi you made for yourself. The fact that it has the same handwriting as Wolfgang's is already suspicious.
Couldn't that just mean the same person tricked them?
If you earnestly believe Diana didn't write it, then maybe. But do you see what I'm saying? There's no proof Diana never wrote the notes. There's only her word to go by. Because if she did write them, everything about her entering the boiler room at 8:45 a.m. and being locked inside could be a total lie.
I get what you're saying. But if we run with the idea that Diana was the one waiting for Wolfgang all the way back at 8:15 a.m., then we're stuck with the issue we had last time. Why did Diana wait over an hour to kill him?
That's also circumstantial. None of us know what really went on between those two in an hour. Ruling someone out because they took a long time to murder is stupid.
Without context? Sure, I'd say the same. But since the boiler room is unlocked, anyone can enter. If Diana knocked Wolfgang out, then she took over an hour to kill him with that info in mind.
Okay, But who would enter? No one wants to make a detour down some gross, freaky-looking basement. The boiler room is probably the most covert place a person can be.
The most covert place. Her words do make sense. After all, I chose to meet Tozu in the boiler room for that very same reason.
Diana claims she didn't write the notes, and she claims she didn't shoot the gun. But where's the hard proof she didn't do any of these things?
The answer lies in what destroyed the generator.
What?
Didn't we already talk about that?
All you guys did was discuss theories. Never anything concrete. Settling for a theory isn't good enough when our lives are on the line. In the same way Ava can't rule out Diana's involvement in the case, we can't rule out the generators.
So, we have to figure out what destroyed the generator? What should we do? Just throw out ideas?
It's what we've been doing this whole time.
Oakley dokley.
Oakley dokley.
Alright, everyone. Let's put our thinking hats on. If we work together, we'll unravel this mystery for sure. Ready? On your marks, go! Why did the generator blow up?
Could have just been an electrical fault.
So, a coincidence?
Is this the best situation? To be waving stuff off as a coincidence?
Killer throw something at the generator that made it explode?
Perhaps it's the fault of the taser gun? The electrical discharge it released might have connected with the generator and created an overabundance of energy, which caused everything in the circuit to pop.
Probably. There's no proof the taser was involved.
No, that's wrong!
Unfortunately, Ava, I have to disagree.
Ooh.
Say nothing but the taser could have been involved in the murder. But there's one possibility you didn't consider. The shrapnel in the water.
You mean those bits of red metal which were floating around?
Right. The ones that look like the aftermath of an explosion. Due to their proximity to the generator, it's safe to assume the two are connected.
Can't that just be debris left by the generator?
Except this debris is a completely different color. It lacks the rust the generator has accumulated. We're obviously looking at the remnants of something else. Which means an object we haven't yet identified was caught in the explosion.
And floating near it was another out-of-place item. Extension cord. Right!
This is it.
In the water was also an extension cord, half of which had been burnt away.
Huh? Did the cord get caught in the explosion?
Seems that cord has the misfortune of floating around the wrong place at the wrong time.
From what I saw in my investigation, the building's extension cord supply seems to be kept inside storage closet D. So in a way, yeah, it was definitely in the wrong place.
Storage closet D, huh? It was hard to make out much of it in the dark. And after the power came on, Kai came screaming for us to leave our closets. But I do recall seeing some extension cords peeking out from behind a shelf.
Since we already know the killer raided one storage closet, anyone else willing to bet they raided this one too?
The hell did they need an extension cord for?
Probably something involving the generator, given its proximity to the cord.
Same thing with the red bits. Even though we don't know what they are.
Right. The red shrapnel. It definitely isn't debris left by the generator, so what exactly is it? So far, nothing in the boiler room can be directly tied to the shrapnel. At least not any of the clues that have already been discussed in this trial. If I were to flip my thinking, consider the clues we haven't discussed yet, there's no proof what I have in mind is related to the shrapnel, but when all the other options are ruled out, I can only turn towards the one that hasn't. The one thing the mysterious shrapnel might be related to. Wait. should be talking about? Wait a minute. The air in the boiler room smelled like an odd combination of cereal and alcohol. Jean believes the smell is a result of a chemical reaction. I mean, it is the only thing we haven't discussed yet.
This is it.
Oh!
Hold that thought. We may be able to identify the shrapnel using context clues. During the investigation, there was a strange smell permeating the boiler room. It took me a moment to notice, but when I did, well, the best way to describe the scent would be if you mix cereal and alcohol together.
Yeah.
Cereal and alcohol? Talk about specific.
Mm-hmm. 'Tis a sign a chemical reaction was at play.
Wait, you recognize the smell?
Chemical reactions can produce some pretty pungent odors. Usually something to the tune of alcohol mixed with cereal. Or fruits, or eggs. I noticed the smell going into the investigation, but it had completely slipped my mind until now.
Could it be a chemical reaction was caused by the taser?
The gun never touched the water. There's no reason for it to be the source of the smell.
What about the generator?
Considering the state of it, that generator would smell more burnt than anything else.
If the chemical reaction can't be explained by what we already know, like the generator or the taser gun, we need to consider the possibility that the explanation is the one piece of evidence still evading us, the shrapnel.
Can someone translate this into less complicated talk?
It was just a long-winded way of saying he's using process of elimination.
I know it sounds like a stretch, but if you follow this line of reasoning, a lot more questions start getting answered. Think about it. If the smell and shrapnel are linked, then whatever object the shrapnel belongs to must contain chemicals.
So we're looking for a metal object, which is also packed with chemicals?
Surely something like that would be kept inside the pharmacy.
Looking at my notes... When we originally visited the pharmacy, I recorded everything I saw. A bright red metal object would have definitely caught my eye, but I don't see one written here.
I got lots of metallic objects in the dorm room, but nothing chemical. Just big old slabs of metal.
Big old slabs of metal. Why does that sound so familiar? Hold on. That's right. What Ingrid said just now is similar to what she said the night everyone began bunking together. At the time, people were talking about their dorm rooms being themed around their talents. Could it be the shrapnel actually be remnants of the unique device that guy boasted about having in his room? The only way to know for sure is to put you on the spot. Wait, I think I remember. So one of these people was bragging about something. Wait, but the only one who bragged about having a unique device in his room? Gotta be Jet, though. I vaguely remember him bragging about something.
It has to be you!
Jet, I need to ask you something.
What's up?
Can you tell me what's inside your dorm room?
Like, a full-on list?
Whatever works.
Sure thing. I get a pretty gnarly collection of parts and accessories. Blind spot mirrors, lithium batteries, wheels, spare brakes, you name it. Oh, I even have the legendary mantle from the 1984's Grand Prix winning Speedster.
That's what I was hoping to hear.
Cool. So, why'd you want to know? Unless... Wait, I'm not being suspected, am I? No. Don't try to roll me into this, bro. I've got nothing to do with the murder.
I know you don't. You have an alibi. The only reason I ask is because that mysterious red shrapnel may be the remnants of one of your lithium batteries.
What?
I see. A lithium battery might explain the smell in the air.
And Lithium? That's an explosive substance. If it made contact with water, gosh, you'd be left with a mess and a half.
Wouldn't someone have heard an explosion, though?
I did.
Really?
During the tournament. Right before we lost power.
Oi, that's right. That was a burn.
Wait! I remember hearing it too!
I initially assumed the generator made the noise somehow. But if Jet's car batteries contain an explosive substance...
Hey, Jet, were your batteries bright red at all?
Maybe?
You don't know for sure?
I never took the batteries out of their packaging. The packaging isn't red, I can tell you that, but the actual batteries? Yeah, I got nothing.
So it can't be proven beyond a reasonable doubt?
Pretty much.
Well, what's the reaction time of a lithium battery?
The reaction time?
When a lithium battery hits the water, how long does it take to combust? I think, once we know that, we can decide whether or not the battery is relevant to the case.
A lithium battery would be an almost instantaneous reaction, I'm pretty sure.
Lithium isn't a metal I've worked with, but it got beat into my head never to mix it with substances it doesn't like. All that electricity, the battery would have let out when it hit the water. It must have went straight into poor Wolfie.
There's warning labels on the battery for a reason.
Okay. If the reaction is instantaneous, then the battery would have entered the water only seconds before the generator exploded. That's really weird.
Is it?
According to Diana's testimony, when the explosion happened, she was still holding the taser gun. In which case, who threw the battery into the water?
Huh. Good point. We can rule out Wolfgang, since the Blackens can only be a student who kills another student. And Diana.
It was only Diana and Wolfgang in the boiler room. So unless Diana herself was the one to throw the battery, then the battery can't play a part in the murder.
I didn't throw the battery. I promise.
The shrapnel and the generator are too close for comfort. They must be correlated. I'll admit that Diana throwing the battery is a possibility. But that's all it is, a possibility. There may still be another way for a battery to enter the water, but we haven't ruled that. Until we have ruled that out, I won't settle for a culprit just yet. Okay, let's take a listen first.
The battery is related to the case. Only Diana could have thrown it in the water.
But my arm had been cut. Lifting a battery would hurt too much.
Neo batteries are pretty lightweight, though.
The battery clearly couldn't have fallen from somewhere.
So
it must have been submerged another way.
Hey?
Perhaps something akin to what Eva described?
If that battery is the murder weapon, why is there a taser gun?
Maybe it's a red herring.
Judging by the shrapnel, the battery would have landed in the water, a few inches from the generator.
Okay.
Not the hardest shot to me.
Everybody is quick to say the battery was thrown, but when I consider the boiler room and the objects the killer could have leveraged, what that person considered impossible starts to sound anything but.
The battery is related to the case. Only Diana could have thrown it in the water.
But
The battery clearly couldn't have fallen.
No, that's wrong!
No. The battery might actually have fallen from the generator.
What makes you say that?
The shrapnel's position in front of the generator suggests there's a correlation between the two. However, it's unlikely Diana threw the battery at the generator. Not only is the boiler room difficult to see in, the generator is positioned far enough from the concrete platform that Diana, with her wounded arm, would need to stand on the platform's edge to make the shot, which would obviously put her in danger of being attacked by Wolfgang again.
yeah, Wolfgang was really close. He could reach over to me if he wanted.
If the battery hadn't been thrown, the only other possibility is that it fell down into the water. And considering the layout of the boiler room, What else could the battery fall off of? Except the generator.
Are you saying the battery was sitting on top of the generator?
Not on top, but maybe. The battery in. It was suspended over the generator.
I got it. The battery may have been suspended over the generator.
Suspended over.
Battery was suspended by something. In the presence of that item starts to make a lot more sense. The extension cord. That's right.
This is it. The killer could have tied the extension cord around the battery and slung the battery over the generator. If the cord and battery were tied together at the time of the generator's explosion, it would explain why half of the cord had been burned away.
The more you explain it, the more unbelievable it sounds.
What if that's the point? Maybe the killer chose a crazy method because no one would believe it.
I don't see how weaving a cord into the mix is any more beneficial than leaving it out. If anything, the cord adds extra weight.
Which would be especially inconvenient for Diana, because her arm is bleeding.
Right. It wouldn't benefit Diana to hold the cord. So, what if she didn't? Something else may have been supporting the cord instead.
Something like... an object was holding the cord.
I got it.
Hmm.
Throughout this trial, we've assumed the killer held the battery in some form or another. If the battery was on its own, the killer tossed it in. If the battery was wrapped with a cord, the killer held the other end of the cord. But in the same way something else can hold the battery, can't something else also hold the cord?
Ugh, my head's starting to spin.
Are you talking about something which could keep the cord in place?
Something to keep the cord in place. If I imagine the cord, the battery is tied around in front of the generator in the same spot where the shrapnel is surfaced. So wait, let's assume that the battery was hanged around here, where there's light above the generator. So the only thing I could think of is
This is it. The killer tied the cord to the vent.
What? And
The one above the generator. It connects the boiler room and the dining hall.
There's a vent above the generator?
You should remember some light shining into the boiler room. That's where the vent is. The vent itself is set a bit far back into the wall. So, you probably assumed the spot was a small window or something.
If the boiler room and the dining hall are separated by one vent, does this make the wallpaper thin, or...?
There's two vents. The boiler room vent and the dining hall vent. Both are connected via a small ventilation shaft. I was able to get a close look at the boiler room vent after Ava and I woke up, which is why I know these details.
How close is close for someone under 6 foot?
Ava helped me reach the vent,
By?
letting me sit on her shoulders.
Quite the visual.
don't rub it in.
Anyway, if the killer tied one end of the cord to the vent and the other end around the battery, they could suspend the battery over the generator.
Something like that would result in an explosion.
What do you mean?
You say the killer tied one end of the cord to the vent and the other end to the battery. However, indoor extension cords are much longer than regular cords. They can be upwards of 9 or more meters in length, as opposed to the average cord's 2 meters. 9 meters is significantly longer than the distance between the vent and the boiler room floor. If the killer wanted to tie the battery to the cord's other end, they would be tying it to something which is already submerged in water.
I see. It is an impossible setup.
Not necessarily. The killer can have greatly reduced the cord's length by doing that. Doing what? Cutting the cord, tying around Wolfgang, wrapping the cord around the battery. That sounds the most logical, honestly.
I got it. The extension cord is pretty thin and flimsy. If the killer wanted the battery to be secure, they need to wrap a lot of cord around it. Probably to the point there wouldn't be much spare cord remaining. Which is a good thing, because this spare cord is what the battery will be suspended by. So long as the spare cord isn't too long, the battery will sit safely above the water.
So much effort.
Agreed. How do you even submerge the battery into the water under those circumstances?
How? Simple. By adjusting the cord's position. And all the killer would need to utilize is a certain aspect of the boiler room. The vent itself, right?
Like I mentioned earlier, I gave the vent a close look after originally waking up in the boiler room. Part of my inspection included opening the vent to get a better look at the other side.
The vent can be opened?
Not all the way, but far enough for the vent to cause a domino effect if then closed. In our case, a domino effect involving the extension cord tied to it. If we assume the vent must be open for the battery to remain a safe distance above the water, we end up with a pulley system. To prevent the battery from entering the water, the vent is literally pulling the entire cord backwards.
Oh, this is just like the murder case in V3 with the seesaw. It's starting to make sense now.
Ergo, it's not just the killer's own measurements keeping the battery in place, but the vent itself. Having opened one of these vents before, I can tell you how tough they are to move.
Whenever my fingers were on the grate directly in front of me, I pulled as hard as I could.
A lightweight battery definitely isn't heavy enough to pull one shut. It takes an actual person to close one, which is great for the killer, because it means they get to maintain full control over when the battery enters the water. If they close the vent, the cord should slide forward and submerge the battery into the water. When that happens, the boiler room water becomes electrified by the battery's components, which in turn causes electricity to pass directly into the body of Wolfgang, who is standing in the water.
Exactly which vent is the cord being tied to?
The boiler room vent.
Funny. Earlier, you said there's a small vent shaft connecting the boiler room vent to the dining hall vent. Assuming the killer is operating this trap from outside the boiler room, since we know there were only ever 2 people in that room, how would they even be able to reach the boiler room vent? Like you said, there's a separate vent in front of it.
Huh? She has a point. I mean, assuming the cord is tied to the boiler room vent. They fail to consider the ventilation shaft. It becomes considerably harder to reach a boiler room vent if you have to reach down that shaft first. Not just that, I never tested to see if the boiler room vent can open inwards. I only got it to open outwards. By that logic, a vent on the opposite side of the shaft.
This could only mean one thing. The killer never tied the cord to the boiler room vent. They tied the cord to the dining hall vent.
That just creates the same problem as before, but reversed. Instead of the dining hall vent making it hard to close the boiler room vent, it's the boiler room vent making it hard to reach the dining hall vent.
While the vents may seem like an obstruction, especially since they can't be opened all the way, there's a very easy workaround. All the killer needs to do is fit the extension cord between the grates of the boiler room vent.
Oh yeah, the grates. You mentioned something about them earlier. Right. When you described opening the boiler room vent. If you can fit your fingers between the grates. There's no damn way you can't fit a cord.
Exactly. After which, you could slide the cord through the ventilation shaft and out the opposite for the killer to then go and tie to the...
Actually...
Oh my god, he literally hit you with the, actually?
Hello?
He, did this guy really just hit us with the, actually?
What is it now?
There's something I still don't understand about your theory. It's to do with the logistics of the cord.
The logistics?
Its size.
We're back to discussing this again. Never mind, I'll find a way to combat this argument. Just like I've done countless times already. Here we go, rebuttal showdown. Yeah, I actually realized that this part is pretty laggy, so...
I understand the boiler room vent can be opened. Maybe not all the way, but enough to fit an extension cord through. What's bothering me, however, is that the boiler room vent was closed during the investigation, which means it must have been closed during the murder.
His argument might have made sense if it weren't for one fatal flaw.
I understand the boiler room vent can be opened. Maybe not all the way, but enough to fit an extension cord through. What's bothering me, however, is that the boiler room vent was closed during the investigation, which means it must have been closed during the murder.
Wait, do I have to not touch the yellow words?
The boiler room vent can be opened.
Okay, that's
Maybe
probably...
not all the way, but enough to fit an extension cord through. What's bothering me, however, is that the boiler room vent was closed during the investigation.
Okay, wait, so what if I do nothing with it?
Which means it must have been closed during the murder.
Oh, okay, so just don't slice at the yellow words.
Here. The killer doesn't even need to open that vent, because they could simply slide the cord between the grates.
Indoor extension cords may be thin, but the plugs on either side of them aren't. I'll
Cut through your words. Freaking love that line. Just, I'll cut through your words.
If you insert the cord through the boiler room vent first, it's possible to fit the cord through. You just need to start with the internal plug. The cords in storage closet D have a slim internal end. This can easily be slid through the gaps in the vent. Once the killer ties the cord around the dining hall vent, presumably with a knot, the cord won't be at risk of sliding back out either.
I see. When put like that, whether or not the boiler room vent was closed isn't really relevant.
How'd you figure all this out from some shrapnel and an extension cord? This is crazy.
At the same time, what he's describing sounds plausible.
Since the battery was suspended over the generator, it's no surprise the machine ended up the way it did. Fortunately for Diana, she was safe by virtue of remaining on the platform. I imagine that was also the killer's intention.
The killer kept her on the platform?
They must have known they were injecting Wolfgang with a hallucinogenic. So, it's possible they hoped his behavior would scare Diana off from entering the water. Although, even if Diana did die, the moment people realized only she and Wolfgang entered the boiler room, they probably call the whole thing a murder gone wrong.
Well, all of this certainly changes things.
Huh?
If the killer is someone who needed access to the vent and needed to be operating from the dining hall, then everyone who attended the tournament is a suspect.
What?
No way!
One of the tournament attendees is the killer? Damn it, how did I not realize this sooner? The fact the killer could even access the vent means they must have been in a dining hall at the time of Wolfgang's murder.
So we can reduce it down to 8 people. Damon, Kai, Grace, Eva, Cassidy, Jed, Mark, and John.
It was probably Cassidy. She set the whole thing up.
Hey, I was only trying to improve the mood.
It wasn't me. I was playing a game with Damon when the lights went out.
I had to play music.
Me too.
You never touched my equipment.
I meant I was watching Kai and Damon play.
I was spectating as well.
Me too.
Me three. And Cass too, I think? I was too focused on the game to remember who was or wasn't there.
If everyone's telling the truth, then all 8 of y'all were crowded round the same spot?
Near the right wall where the TV was set up. It's also the furthest wall from the vent.
Seems like someone is lying again.
The tournament participant who flipped the vent. I can deduce that the person is by determining everyone's positions directly before the blackout. Problem is, I myself had been totally preoccupied with the game. Never got a good look at the actual people around me. Never got a good look. Wait, is that it? While I never got a good look at the others, I could still deduce their general positions if they were near me, from whether or not I heard them. Think, Damon, think. Who and what did I hear back then? Okay, wait, so I know I heard Grace and Cassidy talking. I know I heard Jet talking before the blackout. I definitely know that Jean said something and Kai as well. No. No, you're kidding. It was you. The only person I never heard was you. It was her.
It has to be you.
The killer is Ava.
Huh?
Ava's the only one whose position I can't account for. Mark was mixing a track at the time Kai and I were playing a game, so I know he must have been stationed at his pad. And everyone else? I remember hearing their voices over the sound of the game. Everyone. Except Ava. In fact, the last I saw her, she was standing in the corner of the room with the vent.
So Ava flipped the vent?
Oh man! And the reason no one heard it is because the music was too loud!
Don't blame me. I was just doing what I was told.
No one's blaming you. We're all in on Eva.
Care to contribute anything, Eva?
I didn't flip the vent.
Well, Damon says you did.
Damon says a lot of things.
While you aren't technically wrong, I don't think that counts as an argument.
His theory is full of plot holes. He just refuses to point them out.
What plot holes?
The cord.
What?
In retrospect, you were so quick to accuse me that you overlooked a huge problem with the cord. If I'm the killer, how did I dispose of it?
Trick question. You left the cord tied to the vent.
What then? It unraveled by itself and fell into the water?
You got me there.
How did Eva get rid of the cord? I'm sure it's possible if she knew to untie it at the right time. Everyone left before the blackout? It couldn't be before the blackout because then we would see her. It couldn't be when everyone left because she was with us.
I got it.
It was during the blackout.
He disposed of the cord. He just untied it during the blackout.
She untied the knot during a blackout?
Being the one who set up the trap, Ava could have easily practiced untying the knot in advance. Or she just made it a really simple knot. Either way, it wouldn't be any more difficult than untying your shoelaces with your eyes closed.
If Ava untied the cord, did it also fall into the water?
Diana's testimony says as much.
It does?
During your confrontation with Wolfgang, you recounted hearing certain sounds.
You're not like I'll never be like you. Yeah, you heard a plop. That could be a sound of the battery.
The first sound was obviously the battery exploding. And the second, when you first recounted the story, you said it was a sound of the knife hitting the water. But why would a thin knife make such a big splash?
Then, do you think...
What really caused that sound was probably the extension cord falling into the water.
When you say it that way, it does seem likelier.
I should have known. The kid who lied about her talents and tried to lie about the Tozy trinkets. I should have known. I should have known only Eva fucking Sadaka would kill Wolfgang!
Damn.
You're right that Eva's lied to us several times already.
But she's just a mathlete. How did someone like her come up with something this complicated?
Her talent would give her the upper hand in all that measurement nonsense.
Even so, the sheer volume of items Eva had to steal. She's been under heavy suspicion these past few days. How did she sneak into Jet and Desmond's rooms without being noticed?
It's impossible. Wolfgang even got mad at me for being late to the dining hall by a few minutes. I've been watched the entire time I've been here. There's no way Jet wouldn't have noticed me taking his battery.
Right on. No one steals from me.
They already did.
And anyway, how could I enter the cord through the boiler room vent when I can't even reach the top of the generator? If anything, you should be suspicious of the taller students.
I understand people are doubtful, but I can't let the conversation continue like this. Eva did in fact have a way to reach the vent. All she had to use... Oh. The box is near the generator, right?
That's setting myself up. Removing a box would reduce the amount of boxes.
Flexing your...
I'm saying, but he never knows.
Couldn't you?
Then the underside of the box would be wet.
This I can confirm.
Oh, so it's not... So it wasn't those boxes. Wait, there are boxes over here.
This is it.
Oh, I got it. Okay.
Ava, to reach the top of the generator, there's already a huge pile of them near the generator itself. You could easily push one up against the machine.
Ah. She would have known about those boxes in advance, too. Since she explored the boiler room with you ahead of time.
Okay, I could have used the boxes to reach the top of the generator, and I could have fit the cord through both vents if I inserted the right plug. I can do both of those things without attracting suspicion. What I can't do without attracting suspicion is opening the vent.
Eh?
Which vent are we talking about?
The dining hall one. Based on what Damon's saying, it needs to be opened for the killer's trap to work. But opening it during the tournament is asking to be caught, and opening it before the tournament is useless because Jet, Cassidy, and Mark would see it while setting up.
Oh. Oh yeah, you're right. If there was an open vent with a cord tied to it, I would have noticed for sure.
Now that Eva mentions it, I'm pretty sure the vent was closed during setup.
The vent was closed?
There's no way I can execute this trap without being caught. It's a stupid trap anyway. All the cord and vent stuff is too complicated. There's a billion ways it could go wrong. Damon's just making stuff up. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
What the? That's bullshit.
Can it, you four-eyed troll? You can't talk your way out of this.
Shit.
Only person who would be sick-minded enough to kill Wolfgang is you and only you. Don't you fucking try and tell me otherwise.
Oh, here we go. Now it's not debate. That's a lot of bullets.
You can't say I'm the murderer just because I sat near a vent.
It seems to be pretty good evidence to me.
Wolfgang exposed you for the snake you are, and you despised him because of it. You have a motive.
Perhaps our understanding of the mechanism is wrong? Maybe it wasn't closing the vent that triggered it, but something else?
Do you have any evidence to prove that?
Even if this trap was used, you can't guarantee it operated the way Damon described.
How so?
Well, the battery could have been tied to the extension cord, with a special knot which can untie by itself. After a bit of time passes.
There's even less evidence for that!
Evidence? No one here cares about evidence. I just happened to be at the game tournament, and now you're saying I'm a killer.
Never mind what it was said before. Focus on the facts. I just need to focus.
You can't.
Now that I'm thinking about it. Wait a minute.
Understanding of the mechanism is wrong. Maybe it wasn't
What about the
closing
game
vent
tournament
that triggered
timeline?
it, but something else?
Do you have any evidence?
Even if this trap was
I mean,
used,
think about it.
you can't guarantee it operated the way Damon described.
How so?
Wait a minute.
Well, the battery could have been
The
tied
gaming
to the
tournament
extension
timeline, Ava's name wasn't on there.
which can untie by itself. After a bit of time passes.
Yeah, I remember. There was Jet, Cassidy, Damon, Kai, and Jean.
Evidence. No one here cares. I just happened to be at the game tournament.
No, that's wrong!
No. It's no coincidence you were at the game tournament. In fact, it's not even a coincidence the tournament took place during the murder.
What do you mean?
It was impossible for me to notice this earlier. But the killer timed the tournament so it would grant them an alibi for the murder.
Whoa! Are you accusing me of murder again? I thought you said Ava was the culprit.
The detective isn't supposed to switch suspects in the last stretch like this. You're totally throwing the audience for a loop, and not in a good way.
Except neither of you played a role in determining what time the tournament would be held. The only person to determine that was Ava.
Oh, it was. When I was training my talent, I did most of my studying at 9 a.m. The brain is most active and ready to absorb information around that time. I think this effect could help our video game skills. 9 a.m. tourney, huh? Wouldn't be the first time. Screw it, let's do 9 a.m. What hour after the morning announcement?
Ava knew she would be in the dining hall tomorrow. So when Cassidy announced the tournament, she realized it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to create an alibi for herself.
That's insane. How could she have come up with something like that on the spot?
It wasn't just for an alibi either. Since Ava knew about the tournament, she could time the setup of her trap accordingly.
So to answer a question why neither Cassie, Jet, nor Mark noticed the open vents, when I think back to Cassie told me earlier today, before the tournament began, I could discern exactly when Ava opened the vent. It has to be after stacking up the furniture, right? Because the furniture was on the left side of the room.
I got it. Cassidy, you told me Ava approached you yesterday and asked to help set up the tournament. What exactly did she say?
When did I tell you this again?
Before the tournament?
Oh, now I remember. Yeah, Eva wanted to see what sort of equipment the tournament needed. After I showed her Mark's stuff and told her we were redecorating the dining hall, she offered to help.
Back when this conversation happened, you still hadn't decided what time you were going to start redecorating, right?
Yeah, it's kind of embarrassing. Eva really helped me out, though. She said she would stack the dining hall furniture we weren't going to use later that night. Afterwards, we could focus purely on arranging the technical stuff in the morning.
All right. Then tell me what happened last night.
Jet, Mark, Eva, and I came to the dining hall at around 8:40 p.m. probably. We stacked the table and the dining chairs against the left wall, and the sofas we moved to the middle of the room, maybe a little more to the right. Then we all went back to our dorms. kinda hungry, so I stayed back a few minutes before leaving.
Hold the phone! If those sofa chairs were moved to the middle of the room, why did I see one over in the corner this morning?
'Cause Eva pushed it there.
Eva what?
She didn't want to take part in the tournament. Just watch it from the side. That's what she told me. I never thought it was weird or anything. Some people just like sticking to the walls of rooms, you know?
We're talking about the sofa in the upper left corner, aye? The one next to the coffee table.
Yes, sir, Eva!
Yo, when the power went out, I'm pretty sure Damon ran over to that corner to look through. Yeah, a vent!
Did she move the chair there so it would be easier to reach the vent later?
Why would I when Cassidy just said the vent was closed during setup?
Because you were covering for yourself in advance.
Huh?
The vent may not have been open at the time, but I'm willing to bet that's because you were still creating your trap.
In what way?
Let's say Ava took a detour for the boiler room first, and slid the internal plug through both vents. After going upstairs and helping rearrange the dining hall furniture, during which she moves a sofa chair so it obscures the vent, she heads outside and hides until everyone else goes to bed. Then, she walks back in and opens the vent.
So Eva took complete advantage of them?
No, my fault those two were so trusting.
You think a big guy like me was gonna be afraid of some mathlete? No way!
I mean, she did lie about a lot of important things. Her talent being one of them.
She also cried and fled the scene after we found out.
I just thought it was cool. She wanted to help me out.
Hey, can we backtrack a little? Like, to before all this Ava talk?
Why? What?
It's to do with the chair's position.
The chair?
You guys keep saying it was in front of the vent, but Damon stood in front of the vent during the blackout. If the chair was in the position you all say it was, it should have blocked him from crouching in front of the vent.
Okay, I know I probably said this in one of the previous episodes, but am I the only one who thinks that Kai sounds like Roger Craig Smith, the guy who voices Sonic?
Ava probably just moved it during the blackout. Before the blackout, it was positioned with its back to the left wall. However, when I ran over to the vent, the chair was suddenly pushed up against the northern wall, out of the vent's range. Ava must have shifted the chair while everyone was initially panicking from the blackout. I'm guessing she hoped people would misremember its position and think it was always along the northern wall.
Oh man! So I totally fell for it?
I also remember seeing a speaker in that corner.
Yeah, about that. This morning, Jet, Mark, and I arrived at the dining hall a little after 8 a.m. Then Eva came a few minutes later. She helped us put together Mark's equipment, which was stationed in the lower right corner of the room. And then she volunteered to place speakers around the room while Jet and I set up the TV next to the fireplace.
Moving a speaker near the vent. Did Eva do that to drown out Diana and Wolfgang's scuffle?
Yeah, and in turn exacerbate the effects of the other speakers. There were almost a dozen spread throughout the dining hall. Some even sandwiched into corners they didn't need to be. Eva probably placed them that way to cover as much ground as possible.
Still, Eva entered the dining hall at 8:10 a.m., right? So wouldn't it be impossible for her to knock out Lawyer Man at 8:15 a.m.?
According to Ava, she arrived around 8:10 a.m. But it's possible she actually arrived much later. Since there's no clock in the dining hall, he just couldn't have known. In fact, that might be why Ava seemed so eager to arrange Mark's equipment in the morning. Upon realizing it had a clock, she wanted to ensure it would only be powered on after she arrived.
It seems the setup of this trap occurred across 3 phases. Phase 1 took place in the boiler room and involved tying a lithium battery to an extension cord. The cord was then slid through the grates of the closed boiler room vent, presumably until it almost poked out the other end of the ventilation shaft. Phase 2, by contrast, was carried out in the dining hall. The aforementioned cord was tied around the dining hall vent, which was then left open. This must have happened after Cassidy, Mark, and Jet were already done redecorating. For the third and final phase, the battery was carefully suspended over the generator. All these steps combined created a pulley system, which could only be triggered by closing the dining hall vent. Is there anything I'm missing?
How I closed the vent.
Huh?
No one has explained how I closed the dining hall vent. Obviously, I didn't do it during the blackout. According to Damon, the blackout can only happen after the vent is closed. So, I must have stood up, gone behind the chair, and closed the vent during the tournament. That's stupid. Someone is definitely going to notice that sort of conspicuous movement. It doesn't matter if that someone is on the opposite side of the room. They're going to notice.
How did we overlook such an obvious discrepancy?
Eva's right. Standing up would look really suspicious. Which is exactly why she used that to circumvent the problem.
This is it.
The location of your chair bypasses this problem entirely. Towards the vent, all you need to do is set the chair to recline and reach behind you.
Set the chair to recline?
All the dining hall chairs have the ability to recline. Some were already set to that position at the start of the tournament, including Ava's. As the chair recline, Ava can easily reach down and close the vent without shifting from her position. It's not perfectly inconspicuous, but it's subtle enough to not catch most people's attention, especially those focused on watching a video game competition.
Oh.
Well, am I wrong?
Are we wrong, Ava?
This isn't funny. Just because I was sitting in front of the vent doesn't mean I was the one who triggered the mechanism.
No one can sneak up behind you without drawing attention, especially when all the lights were still on.
That's just dumb! Where I was sitting shouldn't make me a murderer.
Even so, with everything we've spoken about...
Everything? Did you already forget what was said earlier? Just look at all the items I would need to set up this murder. The battery, the extension cord, the rolling pin, the taser, the syringe, and the supposed drug used with it. How could I have collected all of those things? Wolfgang and everyone else hated me because I lied about my talent. They were on their guard whenever I was around. You think Jet and Desmond would just let me walk into their rooms and take their stuff?
That's true. We still haven't explained how she robbed 2 people's rooms without being caught.
Unless you can prove I had the chance to get all this stuff, you can't make me out to be the killer.
Fine. I'll show proof. Only you could obtain the items necessary for this murder.
Ooh. How did Eva obtain the items from the murder? Eva had Desmond's blackmail.
I got it. Ava, you were well aware of the existence of those items. For starters, everyone heard about Jet's battery. It was common knowledge due to his boasting.
Wait, so it's all my fault? Ouch.
Since the dorms aren't locked, you could have easily snuck in and grabbed the battery while no one was inside. The battery is lightweight too, so you wouldn't have trouble carrying it. For the rest of your plan, the syringe and drugs are both readily available in the pharmacy. And as for the taser, you may not have known about its existence right away, but you still had every incentive to search Desmond's room, because you received his blackmail.
Eva? You knew my blackmail this whole time and never said anything?
So what?
Huh?
So what if I knew? I wasn't the only one. Damon knew your blackmail as well.
Oh, yeah. He read it out loud to everyone earlier, didn't he?
Damon knew almost everything I did. He knew where the items used in this murder were stored. He knew the layout of the boiler room and the storage closets. He knew all sorts of things. The only thing he didn't know is the one thing more important than any piece of physical evidence.
The hell are you talking about?
See, you still don't know that we never saw eye to eye.
Oh, that's a fucking lie.
Eye to eye on the not killing each other stuff?
On Wolfgang.
Eh?
Damon saw the way Wolfgang scolded me and treated me like a bad guy, and he thought I hated him the same way he did. But unlike Damon, I never wanted Wolfgang to die.
What the?
Whoa! That's a loaded accusation.
Not a first for this trial.
You thought you saw the worst of Damon after the dummy trial? You underestimate just how low he can stoop. I practically risked my life pretending to be his ally. But in return, he let me see the extent of his deceitfulness, which is why I can tell everyone that Damon has Wolfgang's blackmail.
Oh.
Oh gosh.
Ava, you?
Any reason you didn't tell us this earlier?
Well, I didn't think it was incriminating at first.
Not even when he refused to come forward about it?
That was weird, but I didn't want to make accusations at the time because it could have just been his ego talking. Only after watching him reject the taser gun over this dumb mechanism he made up did I realize I had potential evidence on my hands.
Damon, do you have your blackmail on you? Don't worry about reading it out loud or anything. Just show the image. That's all you gotta do.
Did Ava really never trust me? Why then did she disclose so much to me? Why did she tell me? It's because I trust you. No, this can't be at the forefront of my mind right now. I'm on the cusp of bringing this case to a close. What Ava thinks about me shouldn't matter. What she thinks about me. Yeah, we've seen this already. Damn it. Damn it! This entire time I've been judging the others for how trusting they are. Not even realizing I was blindly following the words of a stranger. And now everyone here, they're gonna hold this blackmail crap against me, even more than if I had just come forward earlier. That is actually kind of a lot to unpack, I'm not gonna lie. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and leave this video here for now. So, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Be sure to leave a like, comment what you think, share this video with your friends, and be sure to subscribe and click the bell so you don't miss a single notification. I'll see all of you in the next video. Goodbye.